I was out of work for 8 years, so I made masala chai. That's not the whole story, but it's where I wanted to start. This is masala chai. Cardamom, ginger, black pepper, a cinnamon stick, black tea, full fat milk, and enough sugar to make it taste like something worth stopping for. It takes about 15 minutes to make properly. You cannot rush it. The spices need time in the milk before the tea goes in. The whole thing needs to come to a slow boil twice, maybe 3 times before it's ready. 15 minutes is a short amount of time. 8 years is not. But both of them are about the same thing, I think. About waiting for something to become what it's supposed to be. I used to be a book editor in Seoul. I had a French literature degree from one of Korea's top universities, a job I liked, and a clear enough sense of where my life was going. Then I got married. And the month after our wedding, I left for South India, where my husband had been posted for work. I thought I was going on an adventure. I was, but adventures, it turns out, have a lot of empty hours in the middle that no one tells you about in advance. South India is not a quiet place. Bangalore is loud and crowded and full of color and chaos and the smell of jasmine and diesel and something frying somewhere always. But inside the apartment, during the hours when my husband was at work, it was very quiet. I had no colleagues, no nearby friends, no family, nowhere I was supposed to be. The loneliness arrived fast and stayed. I had moved to India with someone I loved, but I spent most of my waking hours feeling like I had stepped out of my own life and couldn't find the door back in. That is when the career stopped. Not dramatically, it just stopped. I want to be fair to India because India was also wonderful. On weekends, my husband and I wandered street food stalls, small cafes, spice markets, temples. We ate dosa early in the morning and drank masala chai from clay cups on the side of the road. The chai was sweet and milky and slightly spiced and very hot. It was the best thing I had every single day. I didn't know then that I was falling in love with something that would follow me home. I thought I was just having breakfast. During those 3 years in India, I signed up for an online university and earned another degree in psychology. I took the DEF B2 exam in French. I got a perfect 990 on the TOEIC English exam. Lonely and anxious, yes, but not entirely unproductive. I was apparently still the kind of person who needed to be working towards something. Then COVID-19 happened. It was frightening and disorienting, like it was for everyone. Eventually, my husband's assignment ended, and we moved back to Korea. With my newly acquired psychology degree, I enrolled in a graduate program in counseling psychology and earned a teaching license that would allow me to work as a school counselor in Korea. Then my husband was posted to Tokyo. So we moved again. 2 years in Japan taught me things about small spaces, considered objects, and the idea that a home is something you compose, not something that simply happens around you. Then back to Seoul. 8 years had passed. I had 2 degrees, a graduate diploma, and more certifications than I had originally planned on collecting. And a resume gap so wide, I could probably have driven a car through it. I sent out more than 30 job applications. I wrote cover letters that tried to reframe 8 years of living abroad, studying and moving as something intentional rather than accidental. The phone didn't ring. I'm not angry about this. I think 8 years, it's simply a long time to be away. And I think employment systems are genuinely bad and reading it as anything other than absence. That's not a complaint. It's just what I found. After the 30th application, I sat with the silence for a while. And then I thought, if no one will hire me, I will hire myself. It sounds defiant when I say it like that. Honestly, at the time it felt more like relief. I was pregnant by then. I had waited a long time for this baby, and I was very happy and also very aware that my career situation had just gotten considerably more complicated. So I sat at my dining table, very pregnant, slightly ungainly, with fabric samples spread out in front of me, and started designing. The fabric I chose was Indian hand block print. Of course, it was. It was the same kind I had first discovered in the markets of Bangalore during those long, quiet days. Cotton printed with carved wooden blocks, dipped in dye, pressed by hand, warm and imperfect, and made by someone. I didn't have a business plan. I had an instinct, some fabric, and an unreasonable amount of time. That was enough to start. And every morning, or close to it, I make masala chai. I put the spices in the milk. I wait. I let it come to a slow boil. I drink it at the table where I work, next to a cushion made from the fabric that came from the country where the 8 years started. It tastes exactly the same as it did on the road in Bangalore in my late 20s. Sweet, warm, slightly spiced. A little too hot. Worth waiting for. I was out of work for 8 years. During that time, I lived in 2 countries, earned 2 degrees, moved 4 times, and eventually became a person who makes things with her hands. The masala chai was there the whole time. This channel is the record of where that leaves me now. I will show you how I make textile pieces, where the fabrics come from, how I think about pattern and color and the feel of something handmade in a room that's mostly machine made. I will talk about India and what it gave me, about Tokyo and what it quietly taught me, about what it looks like to build a working life from a dining table with a baby who has strong opinions about everything. I will make chai probably in most episodes. It's not a gimmick. It's just what I do while I think. I didn't plan this. I planned something else entirely, which did not work out, and which I have mostly forgiven. What I have instead is work I built myself. A home I've been composing for years across the 3 countries, and a cup of masala chai that tastes like the beginning of a very long detour that turned out to be the actual road. I hope you will stay. Have you ever had a detour that turned out to be the point? I'd love to hear about it.